I'm doing a video essay on each film in the Harry Potter series, and this will be my 5th one. The others are linked below if you're interested. This time we're going to take a look at the 8th and final film in the franchise, The Deathly Hallows Part 2. And I'm going to discuss why this is the only film in the finale of the whole film series. Before I start, I just want to say that I post every videos during weekends. I may post videos during school breaks. And make sure you do hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to stay notified for more upcoming videos. Now let's get started. I just started watching the Harry Potter films only at a young age. And not only that, I started becoming a huge fan of the series when I was just about 4 years old. And the reason why is because I really never read any of the books before I had the chance. And not only that I only remember going to my grandmother's place just watching every Harry Potter movies, I've only watched only a couple of the films. The only thing I did know is that I had a faint memory of me going to the mall with my family, and I saw the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows poster, one that has Part 1 that was released in 2010, and Part 2 being released in 2011. I remembered only going to see Part 2 in theaters, and I was pleasantly surprised that this was the only film in the franchise that was the ending and was the perfect finale for the series. I was able to tell myself and my family, that was an epic ending. And not only did I have so much hype for this film, I was able to explore this movie and see how it was the only film in the franchise that was just the finale of the series. One of the things that this film did make a good finale was showing how much every film in the franchise starts off with every year at Hogwarts, which is mostly particularly similar to the books. And not only that the 7th book is the finale, and that J.K. Rowling actually splitted the movie into 2 parts, because if you look at Deathly Hallows Part 1, you'll notice that this film was pretty much the road movie, where there's so much camping and talking, whereas in Part 2, it's the war movie. The visuals between the Battle of Hogwarts and this film was pretty much outstanding. Even the editing techniques was also groundbreaking too, especially when looking at the Prince's Tales scene, with all Snape's memories has been developed. Now I will say, they pretty much nailed it better than the book's version in my opinion. But I feel like this film also did a more tenable technique, as it started off with Lily's age, being young, and then going on to Snape's life, how his love for Lily really changes everything. And this line also has one of my favorite Snape lines in the entire series.
Always.
Now I will say, the beginning of the movie was pretty much more perfect, and it depicts right off where Part 1 is sent, with Voldemort getting the Elder Wand, and then going to the scene where we see Dobby's grave, reminding us his death. It pretty much is controversial and pretty different of how it was in Part 1. Because in Part 1, it delivers big time. Even though the ending of Part 1 did left us on a cliffhanger, not knowing what's going to happen. Mainly because they wrote the first half of the book, and then the second half, which is clearly the 7th book, they decided to make the film pick up where Deathly Hallows Part 1 left off, and then start more natural. Not only that, we wait until the next scene where we do have some really visual action-packed scenes and some amazing CGI and so many battles. That being said, however, the film can match easily like the book, as it really gets us very emotional at all costs. Most notably where we see Fred Weasley die. I was really disappointed that the film easily cut this death, as it showed a scene where he was killed in an explosion outside the room of requirement. Or even seeing Snape's death in the movie. I will say, his last line in the movie was pretty much more perfect in the book's version, where he sends his last lines to Harry. In the book, his last line was, "Look at me." In the film, however, they decided to add a line that was never in the book, which is also one of my favorite lines.
You have your mother's eyes.
This film also delivers some great scenes that are really enjoyable for many people that always love to see. The scene I'm discussing is where Neville discusses that he has feelings for Luna. When I remember seeing this movie in theaters, I never realized that Neville had feelings for Luna, and I was like, wow, I never realized that he did have feelings for her all this time. I also love the addition of Neville killing Nagini during Harry and Voldemort's duel. I will say though, in the book it was pretty much more switchable, as he killed Nagini right when he gives his speech, and then the battle restarted. And I also enjoyed Harry and Voldemort's duel, because when I was in the theater, I was like, go Harry, you got this. And I was so proud that he did win the battle. But I feel like I've discussed Voldemort's death in the movie. In the book, after Harry discusses why Voldemort couldn't kill him, even when he discusses the whole power of love, even when he dueled Voldemort right in front of everybody else, he dies a natural death as he falls back as a normal human being. In the movie, however, his death was sort of changeable and I would say pointless as he just distorts away. And it kind of bothers me to say the least. That being said, however, him snapping the Elder Wand was pretty much more perfect. Because in the book, he just easily returned it to Dumbledore's tomb. And I've just gone over every single one of the books, and I just realized that whenever Harry disarms anybody, we realize that us as readers know that Harry is the true owner of the Elder Wand. And even if anybody disarms him, they would also own the power. But if you take a look at the Cursed Child, which is, you all know, is complete trash, and even J.K. Rowling herself said it is canon, but to me, we all know that is not. But anyways, in the play, we see Harry gets disarmed by Voldemort's daughter, Delphi, and now blows our minds that we see now that she's truly the owner of the Elder Wand. So why even bother putting back the wand in a tombstone where you could just easily snap it in half the way he did in the film? I think the ending finale for this film is pretty much more fantastic, as it starts off 19 years with Harry all being grown up and having kids, and all their children being sent to Hogwarts. And the last line in the book pretty much sets off right, where it said that Harry's scar had not pained him at all. All was well. Out of all the Harry Potter movies, they are pretty much more spectacular. But for Deathly Hallows Part 2, it is ironically a cool finale to see, even when Part 1 was pretty much a road hill. But even so, I pretty enjoyed that movie, as many people love seeing the ending, and many of you have a sucker for endings for every series. And I pretty much enjoy it, and I also like it the way many others do.